Okay, so we've covered the seamers to some extent, and we'll move on to the batting. Very good question, I think, here from at Kurt Haycock. Should England make a change in the top three? All three are left-handers, and two are plodders, and one is a novice at Test level. If you were going to make a change, how would you do it?
I think it's a very good question, and I think it's a big issue. And I think looking at what's happened to Gary Ballance in the last 3 months, it's a worry. Since the first or second test in the West Indies, he's hardly made a run. He hasn't made a run against New Zealand in the Test series, and he hasn't made much for Yorkshire after that. And he's obviously got a technical issue, which we talked about a fair bit last year when he first came on the scene, but he seemed to have the game to overcome his unusual back step towards the stumps and seemed to have worked out a method, and that's the key to batting, working out a method and being happy with it. Bowlers have found him out a bit now, especially the New Zealanders, so he's got to think, do I need to change it? I think he probably does, but is he going to be able to change it, in time for the Ashes, and is he the right person to bat at number three? I don't think he is. I think it is right. There are three left-handers at the moment in the top three, and they are all so-called plodders. And I think they do need to make a change. I would prefer to see Ballance at 5, and I think it would just give him a bit of protection without sort of wanting to sound that he's no good. He is good, he's proved his temperament, but I just think he's a bit vulnerable against a swinging new ball. And I wouldn't like him coming in at 2 for 1, but I would like him coming in at 100 for 3. That would be much better. So I would like to see Ballance at 5, Root at 4, and Bell at 3.
Oh, at 3, yeah.
But Bell won't like that. Root probably won't like it either, because he's done very well at number 5. But sometimes you do have to just take a bit of a call and put someone under a little bit more pressure, even though they've done very well where they were. Root in the case of Root at number 5. For me, he's this fantastically versatile batsman with all the ingredients to become world class if he's not already. He's averaging close to 100 in the last year. Why not have him at number 4? And Bell has batted at 3 before. I'd have him there as well. It's that bit of extra experience.
The interesting thing is, I also think the Australians have obviously moved Steve Smith to 3, and Graham Swan recently made some comments around the fact that he wasn't entirely sure about Steve Smith's technique still, and especially in English conditions. And you can't get away from the fact that Steve Smith has been in the top 1 or 2 players, maybe top 3 players in the world in the last 12, 18 months, 24 months. But it's an interesting one, him batting at 3. What do you think? Do you think England would be happy to see Steve Smith batting at 3?
I think they'd be happier to see him batting at 3 than batting at 5, where he's so destructive. And, everybody's talked about his technique. It's weird. In fact, it's funny. I've written a book on batting recently, which I know people find amusing because it sounds like the Jeremy Clarkson Guide to Peacekeeping. But actually, I've kind of vaguely compared his method to Bradman, because Bradman had the same kind of approach. He had a weird sort of slightly wavy backlift that went towards third slip, and he went right back on his stumps, as Smith does, and across his stumps, and sort of hit everything to leg. And actually, Bradman did that, and it worked for him. Consistently, obviously. Smith has had a Bradman-like year, averaging nearly 100, with over 1,000 Test runs. I don't know how many, 5 or 6 centuries, 199 in the West Indies. He's a phenomenal player, but I would like to see him on a green pitch against a new ball. I think Anderson could have his measure early on. So yes, I want to see him bat at number 3 from an England perspective, but that's not to say he won't fail there.
Here's an interesting one for you. What would your tactics be bowling at Steve Smith?
I'd pitch it up. I think I'd pitch it up straight and try and get him LBW and have a little bit more protection on the leg side.
Yeah, I agree. I think he sets up for the ball to be outside off stump the whole time, isn't it?
But you can't ever go away from the basics. And I remember when England went to Australia with the Strauss tour in 2011, and they had all these crafty plans for Michael Hussey. How you've got to bowl straight and get him playing across his pad and all that. And he scored at least 100 in the series. And by about the 3rd test, they thought, right, let's just bowl good length off stump and try and make it move away a bit. Nicked off, out, gone. And in the end, there's a sort of There's a reason why most wickets fall for a ball pitching just around off stump and moving away, because it's the hardest to play for anyone. So while it could be good to have a plan to Smith to bowl straight, don't forget the old kind of pitch middle and off and just move away a bit as well.